G'day everyone and welcome to the GrainCorp Griffith webinar. I'm Izzy Hutchinson, the Grower Services Manager for our southern region. I will be your host for this webinar this morning, which is being held in place of physical grower meetings at our Hillston, Merriwagga, Gulgowie, Yenda and Barellan sites. 2020 has certainly been a big year for everyone. While not everything has gone to plan this year, one positive has been the return of some decent rainfall across the East Coast. While it's an exciting time for the industry, there is also a lot riding on this crop, and we are not underestimating the importance of getting this crop off and generating some badly needed cash flow for our rural communities. No doubt some topics discussed this morning will lead to further questions. You may have noticed already that this session is equipped with a chat feature. I encourage you to put forward any questions at any time and we will do our best to answer them as we go along. If we don't get to your question at the end, then you can expect a follow-up phone call from the appropriate GrainCorp team member following this webinar to discuss. Given it's a busy time of the year, I will endeavour to wrap this up within the hour, so please understand that we may not be able to drill down into too much detail around operations at every site. To kick off this morning's presentation, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to our local site managers.
Hello, I'm Robert Gordon. I'm the site manager at Merriwagga. I've been with GrainCorp for 25 years. This year we'll be doing a split shift with opening times from 7 to 10 at the seedling stand. And we've taken all major grades of wheat and feed barley. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrew Tong, site manager at Hillston. I'll just say how exciting it's going to be this year with the crop. The forecast looks really, really good. Harvest this year is looking great. For our segregations this year, we'll be taking wheat and barley, bar one, and all our usual wheat grades. Opening hours are going to be pretty much the same as 2016 with the double shifts. And looking at our harvest casuals, is really looking good to capacity, and we'll look forward to working with you. Any issues, don't hesitate to give us a call. Please give me a call or call in and have a chat, and be happy to see your smiling face as you come in through the gate.
Hi, my name's Mark Strickland and I'm the site manager for Barellan. I've been with GrainCorp since 2015 and been the site manager at Barellan for about 18 months. This year, as normal, we'll be taking wheat, barley and canola, and we'll be taking Spartacus as a malt variety. We'll have 2 shifts operating this year, with opening hours at this stage from about 7 a.m. till around midnight. Currently, our harvest recruitment is going great. We have filled all our positions with a little bit of overflow, so that's looking good. Looking forward to seeing you all in the big year, seeing plenty of yous. And if you have any concerns or questions, don't hesitate to call me or just drop into Barellan. All right, thank you. Bye.
Hopefully that provides you with some insight into who you will see this coming harvest. It's great to see a few familiar faces. I now want to take a moment to speak to Sean Barker, our General Manager of Customer and Commercial at GrainCorp. Good morning, Sean, and thanks very much for your time today. Can you just give us a brief update in regards to what GrainCorp's been doing over the past 12 months to ensure we're ready for this harvest?
Thanks, Izzy, and it's my pleasure to be here for the Griffith meeting today. I was lucky enough to travel through the Griffith cluster about 3 weeks ago, and after a number of years of dry conditions, it's so pleasing to see the potential of the crop coming. For us at GrainCorp, it's been a very busy time in the last 2 years, especially as from a corporate level and also a business level overall. In February this year, we successfully demerged from our Malt Group, so the United Malt Group now trades as a separate listed entity on the ASX. For us at GrainCorp, that puts us in a very strong financial position with 0 core debt. But what does that mean for our growers? Well, it allows us to continue with the appropriate investment in our supply chains, and also as the largest buyer of grain in our network, ensures that we can post the best prices for growers throughout the harvest. We also have a new CEO, Robert Spurway, who started back in March on the heels of the pandemic. Robert has been getting across the business as best he can. He's been lucky enough to get out there to meet many growers and I know he's looking forward to getting out there during harvest to meet many more. Harvest preparation for us at GrainCorp started back in March when we saw the large planting with the good autumn break. As always, we focused in on labour and equipment. I'm pleased to say we've filled in excess of 3,000 harvest casual positions and have brought in more tarps, stackers and dogs for this harvest to ensure that we can ensure an efficient site service. In all that harvest preparation, COVID has thrown many challenges for us, but one thing hasn't changed, and that's to ensure a safe and efficient site experience. For that, we have made a number of decisions to move to contactless this year, but Craig, Warwick, Brad and Amy will step through that detail a little more during this presentation. This year, our digital platforms provide an integral part in providing those services. Fastway, which has enabled us already to have an efficient site, will continue, and also Crop Connect, a platform which allows us from a marketplace and accounting platform, allowing you an efficient way to sell your grain and market your grain within GrainCorp. On behalf of us all, Izzy, I'd like to thank all the growers for coming on today. I wish you all a safe and prosperous harvest. And just reiterate Izzy's points. If you have any questions, please use that chat function throughout today's session.
Thanks for that update, Sean. There's definitely been plenty happening around the business. We've had a question actually come in from the audience already, Sean. This question comes from Tom. With a large crop forecast across the East Coast, how are we positioned to connect with the international markets and our international customers?
Very good question. Thank you, Tom. I think for us at GrainCorp, harvest preparation extends far beyond the site. With the last droughts, we saw the challenges and how hard it was in reversing our supply chains for the import program. So we knew it was going to take some time as getting our export supply chains up and running. I can assure you, whether it's from rail, our ports, or connections with our international customers, we are in a very good position. Over the last 5 years, our focus on lowering our supply chain costs, especially around rail, where we've seen in excess of $10 lowering in freight costs in the Griffith cluster alone, is putting us in a very competitive position globally to connect with our customers. We've seen very strong demand throughout Asia for wheat and also barley, and very strong demand for canola into Europe at this stage.
Thanks for that, Sean. For the remainder of this session, we have opened up a Q&A panel style program. We have 4 of our very talented staff members on board to answer any of your questions. So I encourage you to post your questions in the chat section and we will endeavour to cover them all off. The panel this morning includes Craig Cochrane, our Senior Supply Chain Manager for the South, Warwick Smith, our Regional Operations Manager for Southern, Brad Muller, our Area Manager for Griffith, and Amy Galvin, our Grain Marketer for the Griffith and Temora clusters. I'll firstly start off with Brad. Brad, we've heard from our site managers and it's great to see those familiar faces around GrainCorp. Can you please provide us with a recap of what sites will receive malt and canola this coming harvest?
Yeah, thanks, Izzy. Borellan will be receiving Spartacus malt this season. We plan to go in a bunker this year with the soft finish. We're expecting to have a high percentage of malt come in. So we're taking feed barley and bar 1 at Hillston, Merriwagga and Borellan. And Gulgowie for the first year will be taking canola as the usual Borellan as well. And just a reminder, with all our sites, PPE is required with not hard hat, glasses, high vis and boots for everybody who comes on site.
Thanks, Brad. Would you mind just letting us also know what's happening at the end of this year with wheat?
At the end of this year, we are taking hard wheat as opposed to soft wheat, which we have in the past. There's not a great deal of soft wheat in the ground this year, just with the high water prices. So we've made a commercial decision to store hard wheat instead.
Very good. Thanks very much for that, Brad. I'll now throw over to Warwick to have a look at our harvest recruitment. Warwick, the question that I've got here from the audience, this is from Gary. There's a lot of media around staff and labour due to COVID. How is GrainCorp going with recruiting staff for this harvest?
Yeah, thanks, Izzy. And no, a good question. Obviously, it's been a hot topic with obviously COVID and other sort of things that have sort of mixed it up a little bit this year. But GrainCorp, we've been doing really, really well in the recruitment process for this harvest across the entire network. We start this process very, very early, and as Sean alluded to at the start, you know, we look to recruit a bit over 3,000 staff for this coming harvest to assist with bringing in the crop. We've had over 5,000 applications come through, so we're in a really, really good position. The Southern New South Wales region alone will require around 800 casuals. Obviously, the number is quite large. It's a big season. We do a lot more double shifts at site, so it has been challenging, but we're tracking really, really well. And Brad might go into more detail, but the Griffith cluster is basically 100% recruited for what their requirements were. So we're in a really good position, and looking forward to being able to obviously provide the service that's required for all our growers across the network, the region, and the Griffith cluster.
Thanks, Woz. Well, I'll throw across to Brad to give us an update on a more local aspect of recruitment and how we're going, ensuring we've got enough staff on site.
Yeah, sure thing. Like Warwick mentioned, Griffith is at 100% full. We got a lot of applications really early this season, which is great to see. We've even got a waiting list as well for other people if a few people fall through. And we've got a lot of return casuals as well, which will make things a lot smoother at harvest. Thanks.
Thanks, Brad. And thanks again, Gary, for that question. It was a good one. Craig, can you please give us an overview of the equipment, and will the business be ready to receive this large crop in Southern New South Wales?
Thanks, Izzy. This crop obviously has enormous potential. And as Sean stated, we started our planning way back in March, which is earlier than ever before. But when you throw a COVID pandemic in on top of the normal harvest challenges that we planned for, it really has been a complex process. But our plans are well and truly locked down now, as well as our contingency plans and multiple contingency plans to make sure that we deliver a safe and prosperous harvest for everyone. Supporting these plans, our business in the last 6 months alone has gone out and spent over $10 million on bringing in new gear, new tarps, 21 stackers, and our drive-over hopper fleet has been increased with some more 400-tonne-an-hour dogs. So very happy with that. Our stacker movement plan's been locked down for some time, and we'll start seeing the first of those stackers move from Queensland to Southern New South Wales over the next 5 or 6 days, which is fantastic. So all in all, Izzy, we're very confident that we're ready to receive this potentially massive crop in the south.
That's great to hear. We've heard from Sean that things have changed around the business with COVID. I'll throw across to Warwick to give us an update as to what the business has done to ensure your safety and the safety of our staff this harvest.
Thanks, Izzy. Obviously, yeah, GrainCorp's certainly no different to any other business, and obviously all our lives changed a little bit come March this year. So GrainCorp's been working all year on reducing, obviously, the amount of exposure and contact that we have with our people and obviously our customers. So obviously we've been working very, very closely over the outload period, and that's been done really, really successful. We've been able to manage and meet all our customer requirements on the outload side of things. So a lot of work has been going into the harvest and how we were going to approach that in a COVID-19 space that we're all operating in. So a revised delivery process across the East Coast network has been developed to reduce human contact, allowing almost all delivery functions to be contact-free while maintaining our commitment to quality service. GrainCorp's advanced contact-free technology platforms, such as Fastway for grain sampling and receival, and our Crop Connect for digital transaction, are central to the revised plan, as are the changes to existing practices. The following processes are effective immediately at all GrainCorp receival sites. And I'll just run through a few of the points here. So the first one is minimise movement of all GrainCorp staff and customers at all time. This includes, but not limits to, no access inside our sample stands and weigh bridges. We are particularly aiming to minimise movement of truck drivers on our sites. Social distancing and hygiene measures will be enforced as standard practice at all sites. along with all drivers and growers required to scan in via a QR code at the sample stand, and then again when the truck tears off at the weighbridge. The second point is the use of an updated delivery advice form. Our updated delivery advice form will assist with reducing the contact between GrainCorp staff and our grower/truck drivers. Also, this process will increase the efficiency through our sample stands dramatically, I believe. The next point is, so the delivery advice must be used for every delivered load to site and every sample to be tested. There'll be some more detail to speak about this later on. Samples will need to be provided to GrainCorp in a Ziploc bag, and we will test the sample and call or text you with your results. Please note that the delivery advice will not be returned after use. The third point is there's no option to select cash or transfer grain to contracts at sample stand or weighbridge. All deliveries will be placed into warehousing and transferred via Crop Connect or the grower hotline 1800 grains. We will still collect NGR, paddock details, treatment status and vendor debts at the sample stand or weighbridge and maintain active live pricing at our sites. And the last point, I want to make no transfers of clipboards around the sites with drivers. Any paperwork required will not be handed back or signed. The size of the text on the paperwork will be increased to assist in reading from a distance. Now, you should be able to see a bit of a flow chart on your screen there with basically the process. So basically, as I have run through there, you make your way to the sample stand. We'll just go through basically if you're delivering a load, we want you obviously to sign in as a visitor on the QR code. Obviously, that will only have to be your information. Once you've got it in once, it should be fine then from then on. Obviously, present with your delivery advice. Hopefully it's all pre-populated and ready to go. Our samplers will obviously then conduct the testing. They will come back out and obviously present you with your receival docket. You can see the receival docket has a font on it with some of the key information around the storage and the bin and the grade, so that's easy for our staff to see. If you're happy with the results, obviously you move on to the weighbridge, where you obviously will show the weighbridge person this receival docket. Obviously you've grossed and you move on to the hopper. Same thing, you show the hopper. You don't have the ticket, you don't have to hand it out. Obviously the hopper attendant doesn't need to sign it, just obviously show them so they can see and have a visual reference that you're at the right spot. Obviously you tip your load off and then obviously come back around to tear off at the weighbridge where you will be, copies will be printed out for you, and obviously we want you to scan back out again as well. And obviously the final point there is if you are registered with Crop Connect and you have the notification set up that will receive a notification that that truck has left the site with details of what that grade was, what the load went, and tonnage and things like that back to possibly the header driver or whoever might is set up in Crop Connect for that information to come back. Thanks, Iz.
Thanks for that, Woz. We might just take a moment to have a look at further detail of that grower delivery ticket that you mentioned and the changes that we've made.
Yeah, for sure. So, is it up on the screen? As you can see there, it's basically the same information up the top, which we normally have, and just highlighted down the bottom, obviously the date, the time, the grade, the truck rego, and obviously the storage that it's going to has been obviously a nice big black font, so easy for our staff to read. This has just made it so obviously we don't have to be handing pieces of paper around or clipboards like we have in the past. So hopefully that makes it easier for everyone. And yeah, basically that's as simple as it is. We think it's working quite well. Obviously, harvest is underway in Queensland and northern New South Wales with good feedback coming back that everything's working well. So we hope that that'll continue into the south.
That's great to hear that things are going well already in Queensland and northern New South Wales. You also mentioned that the growers need to provide a grower delivery advice with every load and every sample. Do you mind if we just take a moment to have a look at this and just go through the details of that delivery advice required?
Yep, not a problem, Izzy. Look, I think this is going to be probably the most critical part of the process when delivering into our sites. basically we're requiring this information so we can maintain that contactless sort of approach that we're dealing with. So basically, as a truck would come in, we'd hope that all the information is pre-populated. We do stress, obviously, encourage you to download off our website. I know emails have been getting sent out to all growers with this delivery advice that you can print it off. You might want to pre-populate, obviously, trading names and NGRs and maybe the commodity or truck rego already, so you're not having to do that every load. We will have copies at site as well. If people do arrive without any delivery advice, we will have them on hand at site, but obviously certainly encourage everyone to probably be, if you can do it earlier, that would be greatly appreciated. We know it's a big year, and we know the more efficiently we can obviously have that information that's accurate and correct, our sample stand can obviously get the process of sampling your grain a lot quicker, and which means get your truck moving quicker, which means hopefully get you through the site and then back out to the paddock again, which is the key thing that we want to achieve. So I can't stress enough, please, if you need any more information or you'd like to have some of these delivery advice, please get in contact with us, whether it's the 1-800 Grains number or call your local site manager, and we'll certainly follow it up for you to get that sent out so you can prepare for the harvest as well. But I will stress, obviously, we're not going to turn anyone away. If a truck arrives and does not have that information, we'll provide them with the delivery advice and they can quickly fill it out and we'll process the load. But I'm sure you can all appreciate if that information's there right from the word go, it'll just make it a more seamless process for everyone involved.
Thanks for that update, Woz. We've had a question come in from the audience. This question is from Kate, and it's in regards to the grower delivery advice and the in-crop treatment of glyphosate on durum and barley. Craig, would you be able to respond to Kate for us?
No worries at all, Izzy. As I'm hoping that everybody's aware, the use of barley on those two crops, it hasn't been approved. So we really need to know when it comes in that it has been treated with it so that we can actually store it appropriately as bar 1 in the barley and feed wheat as the wheat. So it's very important that, people declare that upfront so that we can store it accordingly. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks again for that question, Kate. Brad, how does a grower request a retest?
Or similar to previous years, but this year it'll happen. Just a quick conversation at the bottom of the sample stand stairs between the driver and the sample stand attendant. The driver has the option then to either get a retest out of the same bucket, or they can bring the truck around and have it reprobed, but take into account in a busy harvest, that can take a little while because there'll be other trucks in line as well. Don't forget, though, we do have the Croptimizer system where if your protein is within a couple of points of the next grade up, there's a big chance you can get upgraded anyway.
Very good. We heard in the part of the COVID plan is we're changing how samples are delivered and how they're tested. Can you just give us an update of how that process now works, Brad?
Yep. If the grower or whoever it may be can just leave a sample at the bottom of the stairs in a Ziploc bag, similar to the one I've got here. We need absolute minimum of 1 kilo. The more sample you've got there, the more accurate test's going to be. If you've got the details in there with your name and phone number, we'll text or make a phone call as soon as possible to get those results back to you.
Perfect. So growers are required to have at least 1 kilo and ensure that grower delivery advice is included in samples so that we can get them tested and get back to you as soon as possible. Now, just a reminder, if you do have questions, please feel free to utilise the chat feature and send them across. I'm going to go across to Amy. Amy, if we're going contactless on site, can you give us a brief understanding of how growers go about selling their grain on the weighbridge?
Yes, thanks, Izzy. As part of the COVID safe plan this year, all grain will be placed into warehouse. Our Crop Connect platform can then be utilised to complete transactions. Through the Crop Connect platform, you'll be able to see load details, see where the truck is on site, use it as a stock management tool, cash loads and contract management. Crop Connect offers accounting features such as your RCTIs and delivery summaries. Load quality details will be sent as a notification direct to your phone as soon as they're processed through the sample stand. And look, Crop Connect is really a one-stop shop for harvest this year. So I suggest that you log on before harvest starts, become familiar with the platform. And if you are needing any log-on details or help with navigating the Crop Connect platform, please call the 1-800-GRAINS numbers and they will be able to help you.
Thanks. We've had a question come in from Jane. As you mentioned there, Amy, growers will need to warehouse their grain and utilise Crop Connect to make their sales. What costs and other benefits are involved in warehousing?
Look, the zero cost involved prior to the grace period, which is the month of delivery plus 2 months. Another benefit to Crop Connect is Croptimizer, which is our quality upgrade program applicable to wheat and barley. And you'll need to meet 3 criteria for a load to be eligible. You need to meet certain parameters around protein and screenings. You need to have grower equity, meaning you need to have delivered the higher grade previously and the stack position at site. If a load is eligible, you will receive a text message informing you that you do have loads that can be upgraded, and then you simply call the 1-800-GRAINS number and the team answering the phones will be able to help you Croptimize the loads that are eligible.
Thanks for that question, Jane. It was a great one. It sounds like things are ready out on site to receive the grain this harvest. Craig, can you give us an understanding of what the business has been doing down at Port Kembla to ensure we're ready for the export task?
Cheers, Izzy. We're very, very lucky that our export shipping stem out of southern New South Wales via Port Kembla has been very well supported by industry this year. So I'm actually in Port Kembla today, and the teams down here are very excited about actually being able to load boats versus importing them over the last few years. The team at the moment are busy giving the shiploaders a birthday. They're cleaning the flow paths and the silos in readiness for the shipping season. Similar to upcountry, we're also bringing in additional staff and training them up so that they're ready to handle the upcoming busy export program. So yeah, all in all, very confident that we'll be able to execute it.
Very good. Now, Amy, with a large export year planned, what options do growers have for delivery direct into our ports or into our upcountry sites post-harvest?
Izzy, both of those options will be available. So we have the option to deliver direct into port, which will include GrainCorp's industry-leading 2 business day payments on grain delivered to port post-harvest. Now, this can be both into Port Geelong or Port Kembla. And also, if you're storing grain on farm for harvest logistics, we can also look at post-harvest delivery into some upcountry sites.
Very good. Thanks for that. There's been some industry chatter about changes to sustainability in canola. Amy, are you able to provide us with a brief understanding of what changes have been made here?
Sure can, Izzy. So look, over the previous years, each individual exporter has had their own sustainability form to fill in for each grower. Now, 7 of the major exporters at NGR have come together to centralise the canola sustainability process. The general guidelines of the program are very similar to in the previous years. Now all you need to do is complete 1 form with NGR, and that covers 7 exporters who are part of the program. If you're growing canola, I suggest you contact NGR for further information on the program and also complete the declaration. You don't have to complete the declaration, but just be aware the prices that you do see on the GrainCorp bid sheet is offering the premium for sustainable canola.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, we've had a question come in from Bill, and I'll throw this across to Woz. Where can I find the delivery advice form?
Yeah, thanks, Izzy. Look, it is on our website, which you can, obviously jump on there and go through, and you'll find it. It's in PDF form, but can obviously be pre-populated as well. It's got the function, which obviously I encourage you to do. To make life a little bit easier for your truck driver. They're not having to fill it out each time to a certain degree, but it is on our website. If you maybe not have access to that, please get in contact with either our 1-800-GRAINS number as well, which our grower services team in Wagga will more than happily help you, or even one of our site managers will be able to assist as well to help you there. And obviously we will have copies at site as well to assist if people require some more.
Thanks. Thanks again, Bill, for that question. If you need any more assistance, please let us know. Amy, we've heard a lot about the grower hotline number, 1-800-GRAINS, a number of times during this session. Can you please give us an overview of this number and the services that it provides?
Sure, Izzy, no problem. The 1-800-GRAINS number will come directly into our Wagga office. So we have 3 permanents in the Wagga office. They've been here for 18 months to 2 years now, so they're well and truly equipped to help service our customers this season. As we sit at the moment, we also have an additional 7 casuals that have started over the last few months that are becoming very familiar with all the questions that can come through to that 1-800-GRAINS number. And look, over the next several weeks, we'll build up our casual base to 20 casuals in the Wagga office, and they will all be well equipped and ready to answer any questions that are coming through to that 1-800-GRAINS number.
Thanks. That probably ties in quite well with a question that we've just received from Karen. Is there a way I can learn how to use Crop Connect? I'll get Amy to answer that one.
Karen, thank you for your question. There's a couple of ways that you can learn how to use Crop Connect. So the first one would be call our team here in the Wagga office. They're more than happy to walk you through it and help you become familiar with the platform. The other thing that you can do is there's actually a YouTube channel that you can jump onto, and there's many Crop Connect videos up there. They will run for maybe 2.5 minutes, and that will walk you through the process of what you need to do to become familiar with Crop Connect. So you'll be able to see how to transfer grain, for example, how to find your RCTIs, and whatever that platform does, there'll be a video on it.
Very good. We've had another question come in, and this one's coming from Brad. What if I'm unable to use QR codes? I think Craig will be best to answer this.
Cheers, Brad. We'll actually have the manual. So we'll have the paper if you go to a restaurant in town, etc. If they don't have the QR code system set up, they have the manual paperwork there. So we'll have that for you to be able to sign in and sign out. So it won't be a problem at all.
Very good. Thank you. While you're there, Craig, we've covered off a large array of topics in a very short space of time this morning. Can you just recap some of the key messages?
No worries. The key messages that I've got from this session, the major change this harvest is obviously around our COVID plan, in that we'll be as contactless as possible at our sites. The delivery advice forms, we require them for the samples that you bring in and also all deliveries. And all grain that comes into our sites will be automatically placed into warehouse. Then you can use Crop Connect to complete transfers to contract, cash, pools, as well as place offers, view your invoices and manage your notifications. If I could, I'd also suggest that you check your personal details with NGR prior to harvest, and also complete the Canola Sustainability Declaration if you wish.
Thanks, Craig. I'll now go around the grounds just to get some final thoughts from our panel. I'll start with Woz.
Yeah, look, thanks, Izzy. Look, all I have to say is, look, I just wish all the growers in the entire Griffith cluster there all the very best, a very safe harvest. It's fantastic to see that the crop is, we've come into a more promising season after a couple of leaner ones. Look, the one thing would be just please keep in contact with your local site manager if you have any questions or any concerns during harvest, or things that you might be able to help assist us in making the harvest as safe and as efficient as possible, I guess. So yeah, please make yourself known to the site manager and keep in touch would be my sort of, I suppose, note to leave everyone with. But yeah, I wish everyone a very safe and prosperous harvest as well, and look forward to getting out that way when harvest starts. Thanks, Izzy.
Thanks. Now, if you don't have your local site manager phone number, please contact us on 1-800-GRAINS, and the team there will be able to assist you with those details. I'll throw across to Brad.
Yeah, thanks, Iz. I'd like to say I look forward to seeing everyone at harvest, and if you could please give us a call prior to sending a load in, especially if it's early in the harvest and you think you could be the first one tripping a particular commodity, just to ensure that we're ready for it and we can get you through without too many delays. Thanks.
Thanks. Now, Amy, did you have anything final that you wanted to add?
Izzy, I'd just like to add, we send out a price text message. We also send out our daily bid sheets to email, and we also have a weekly communications newsletter that goes out, which has some really valuable information on it. So if you are not on any of our distribution lists and you would like to be added to the distribution list, please just give me a call and I can arrange for that to happen.
Thanks. And last but not least, I'll go across to Craig.
Cheers, Iz. Look, I have to say that I'm super excited about the harvest potential that's out there, and the teams are really excited for the growers and to interact with them and provide the service that we know that we can. We think that the planning's there to deliver a really safe and efficient harvest. So all I can say is I wish everybody a safe and, hopefully prosperous harvest.
Thanks, Craig. Now that concludes our webinar for this afternoon. Hopefully this session has provided you with a knowledge of what GrainCorp's doing this harvest to ensure your community and our staff remain safe. Thanks very much for your time this morning, and I wish you all the very best for harvest.